Hello guys, in this tutorial I'm gonna try to show you how to create these stylized trees. There is a few ways of doing it, and I'm gonna show you my main workflow. First things first is I went to Pinterest and I gathered some references. There's a stylized tree speed sculpt from Stylized Station, and I based my trunk from that video. You just want to load some cylinder. Let's scale it up. Let's activate the symmetry in X and Z. We're gonna make it rounder on the base. Let's dynamesh it. Now I'm gonna start sculpting, so I can go and skip this part of it, make it quicker. You can create your own trunk. Alright, let's pick up the orb clay tubes brush, and the alpha is gonna be something with sharp borders. Let's take this one, this alpha. Create some variation in the base, along the base, so it's more natural. This way is cleaner and quicker. I can go clean up the detail if I don't like it and start over again. It's cool because we're going quick. I mean, a little bit of detail and of noise is great, but too much, you go for a realist look, and that's not what we're looking for, right? You gotta be careful with that. We're gonna leave a little bit of space between the strokes, and then we're gonna decrease a little bit the size of the brush. Gonna go from up the tree and follow a little bit the lines, not too much. Let's not make it too straight. Yeah, like this. You can make it smoother, the transition, or sharper. It's cool to make it sharper at first, and then when you polish it, you decide whether or not you want those edges to be seen or not. You could even not go to the end of the branch, just leave it there, just like there is no bark in the tip of the branch. It's cool. It's cool if you overlap the lines a little, but it's easy to mess up too. You can always go back and forth to break a bit the repetition. I could go and just go with the alt and delete some of the bark I already have. You see, this is too much, and I want my tree bark almost everywhere. You can clay polish it again, not too much, because we're gonna lose our detail, but yeah, 2 times. I mean, this is great. Go to the submission master. Right, and this way I have a high poly mesh that I can export. We're gonna go to FBX export, and we're gonna call it Treeit high. Then we're gonna go to custom points, gonna click on 2K. Let's see, let's go to 3. We're gonna unwrap it in here. 2 to go quick. 3, 2, low. You can do retopo if you want. Okay, what else? We could also do the top. For that, we could insert a sphere 3D. You could play with it, make like a few shapes. This could be good, this could be great, but what I need to do is just optimize it a bit. ZBrush. I'm gonna click on here in polyframe to see what I'm working with, and you want to keep the same density in every part of the tree. If I'm not happy with the result, I can always come back to ZBrush and maybe increase the density or even decrease it a bit. It just depends on how we see it on the engine. Alright, so I can export this too. I don't need to unwrap it. I'm gonna unwrap it on Blender because you need to reset the UVs in order to every poly to have its own texture. So yeah, we're gonna export it like this. Yeah, so what I need to do is go to UV editing, go to faces, select everything, press U, and then click reset. So now our texture is gonna apply on every poly. I'm gonna scale it up by 100 because I got the scales changed, and when I passed from ZBrush to Blender and then from Blender to Unreal, my scale just goes like a 0.01 of my normal scale. I need to scale it up, object, apply, rotation and scale. 100 by 100 by 100, origin to geometry. We're gonna go, and now that we have our mesh, we need to apply the scale, and now I have two materials applied, two different materials. I'm gonna export this as our Treeit. It's gonna be our final model. Okay, great. What else? We can do our texture. We're gonna go to substance, Treeit low. Okay, I'm gonna click on 2K. It's alright. Texture settings. Click on big mesh maps and Treeit high on high definition meshes, and we're gonna make selected. Everything is as expected. What else? Ooh, I have a stylized material, stylized wood. I mean, yeah, I think I'm gonna go with this one. I like to create some hand painted textures for these assets. Pattern here to add some variations, add some color variation with a grunge. And I'm not gonna go into much detail, but I just need to hand paint a bit the interior where there is no bark. I can make the pattern smoother with a blur. Let's put a blur, let's add a filter. So yeah, I just create some veins, and what I'm actually gonna do is put them all across my mesh. I could also put some height information if I wanted to. Like this way. So as you can see, I added some veins to imitate a little bit the bark, and I think it looks cool. So I just need to export the textures. Okay, so now that we're done with our textures, we can move on to Unreal. Okay, we're here in Unreal. We're here in Unreal Engine. Let's import our textures and our model. Let's double click this instance, rename it and call it Treeit inst, and this is referencing my main RVT material. It's similar to all my materials for my meshes, with a height blend for the RBTs and a color variation with a gradient in case I'm not happy with my textures. then has an input for normals, even for a normal detail if you want to, and for the roughness too. Okay, so I imported my mesh, duplicate an instance. Right, what we need to do right now is just drag our textures. We drag the normal, the roughness, and our base color or albedo, and we can see there's nothing wrong with it. I don't like the color, touch a bit the overlay and put it more like this color. I'm gonna go to my instances. I need to create another instance and scale our billboard size. I'm gonna show you a bit of the master material. There's a billboard word position for the wind. It uses opacity mask, so this needs to be activated. The blend mode is masked, and then we have a Fresnel for the highlight, but I mean you could deactivate it if you want, or even just erase it from the shader. It's not that necessary. And then it uses RBTs, runtime virtual textures, as you know, and this is just a color. You can create your own alphas too in here. I have mines. If I wanted to, could change it, put some variation quickly. You can change the color too. I mean, whatever. I mean, you could change the color. You could change everything. But yep, I mean, this is already great, and I have some different types of trees, larger ones, and this big tree right here too, some trunk, and then the bushes, it's the same. It's just the top scaled down, create them and put it on the foliage. And if I wanted to just fill my scene with some foliage and some bushes, I could do it this way. This is a quick way to do it. Maybe now there's too much bushes, but well, I could do it with my tree too. I could place it as foliage and just apply it everywhere on the scene. But yes, this is how I do my vegetation, my trees. There's another way of creating stylized trees, and this technique is based on a tutorial from Victoria Zavorodnia. I'm gonna put the link in the description below. So this is Treeit. This is a powerful free software. You can download it. I mean, within 5 minutes you can learn how to use it. As you can see, you can play with the trunk length and pretty much with everything that you want. I'm gonna skip the process of making the tree, but you should take a look on the tutorial I linked, because there is the whole process in there. This is great, so I'm gonna export it as an FBX so we could move to Unreal. So we are here in Unreal in my stylized scene. We're gonna click on Treeit. You need to load them as separate assets. This could work as perfectly well just with simple material, just with some simple color. Create another instance, and yeah, so we could just add a simple material with an input for the base color and a gradient using the RBTs too to make a little smoother transition with the ground. And for the leaves, what I need is the same material I applied to my other tree. The thing with these billboards is the normals are all messy. In order to fix the normals, we can apply to the normals the two-sided sign. So as you can see, I have my instance here, and we could change the hue shift. Okay, so yeah, you just gotta tweak your values, but those are just my two main ways of creating stylized trees for games. I'm gonna show you how I create my flowers and my vegetation for my games and scenes. This is my material. I'm gonna make it bigger so that you can see. I have simple grass wind for the position offset if I want my bush to have a little bit of movement, and yeah, a parameter for my roughness, and then my material is set on masked and two-sided, and I have my opacity mask, the texture, the shape of the foliage, a gradient with some details for my base color, and I have some parameters if I want to change the tint. It just to have some range of color. Let's take a look to my material for my flowers. This is the most basic material that you can create, and it just has an opacity mask. It's also my material is set on mask too. The opacity mask, that is like an atlas for many flowers. Every flower set shares the same material, and I have an atlas color for my base color. You could go and put some gradients on it if you like, for the stems or whatever for the leaves. And yeah, let's take a look on Blender. My foliage, as you can see, I have different, like we have different textures, and yeah, the mesh, as you can see on the wireframe, is pretty simple. It's just plain subdivided, and I turn on my proportional editing so I could move and I could create this bending. There's some people that create their own textures on Substance Designer, but I prefer to create it on Photoshop for this project. And yeah, let's take a look to my other scene for my flowers. I have two flowers in here. If I click on my faces, they all share the same mask and the same flower, but you could change it. You could have different flowers for it. But yeah, I mean, you have in here, if I take a look to the stem, and then you could always change the color if you wanted to, and make different variations for flowers. This is very important for the faces of the flower. This is just a subdivided plane, but in order for the opacity mask to be seen, you need to click on Alt N and make your normals point. You have to put a huge amount on the Z axis to point up, and you can export it from Blender from here, take it to Unreal. I have different sets of flowers, and if I go to my foliage mode, just place them here. Sorry, I got the foliage activated too. You can see I have different textures, so it's a quick way to create some different vegetation. So yeah, that was it. I hope you learned something from it, and these are my ways for approaching stylized foliage and trees, vegetation. And I'm planning on doing another tutorial for the landscape and another one for the grass, so stay tuned. And well, thank you very much. See you in the next tutorial. Bye.